I'm just saying, when you nurse someone back to health from a hangover, don't give them a pain drug so strong that it can mess with their memories, the loud one exclaimed, bare feet slapping down the cobbles. What if I'd met the love of my life last night? And now I will never remember because you gave me ergerania juice at full concentration. Bellant snorted, classy even in their vulgarity. Met the love of your life? In a dumpster? You were the one in a dumpster, Liony shouted. Was he louder than yesterday? Maybe I should have just torn his arm off last night. Then he would have been the deer's problem as he recovered in their hospital. I got tired of trying to find your drunk ass and found myself a nice pillow. You stole a homeless grandmother's pillow, Bellant corrected soberly, as the two of them walked in, looking worse than the day our camp had been set fully alight, and we'd fled 40 leagues with no water and no food, only to reach an ocean that was undrinkable and nearly died from the false hope. Upon reaching the atrium, the two with crazy hair and wild eyes paused, taking in the bubble of soldiers pulling at the dragon. Without pause, Liony interjected with a finger in the air. "El's here," I scowled. "Where?" Bellant asked, already searching. I wished to become one with the shelves, but it was too late for me. "El," Liony sauntered in. "What'd you do this time?" "Oh, look, another rat," the dragon snorted snidely. "Walking around in broad daylight, how disgusting." "Oh my," Bellant responded, dry. One hand rose mechanically to their chest in mock affront. "If you have a formal complaint about the conduct of one of the lions, the commander is at the mud pen. All are welcome. Who would want to talk to him?" The dragon spit on everything within 3 steps of him. "Someone so obsessed with riches and glory that he acts without the sovereign's permission? Who needs a lion like that? Who needs a commander like that?" "Huh?" Liony echoed my thoughts, but he wasn't one to act first. Before I knew it, a tagged knife from my lizard's shelf appeared in my hand. I used to collect daggers when I was just a lonely rat. I forgot when I'd stopped, but when I'd first moved into the barracks, the wood along my bed had been riddled with holes where I stabbed them in, storing them. It had been years since I'd used a knife for anything other than fixing snares and hunting. Demons couldn't be killed simply with a dagger to the heart, not unless you were in a position to launch your entire body weight behind it. A sword was much better for beheading them. Noble-born brats sucked at sword-fighting demons because they were struck stupid with their tricks and angle theories and revered stances. Use it like a meat cleaver, and it works wonders. The knife was at the dragon's throat before anyone could next blink. Some little dragon, too green to be anything other than a dragonling in disguise, I tisked, stroking the man's cheek with the tip of the knife. It had a strange curve, making it hooked at the end. I used the soft side, something less invasive than a razor. Stunned, the dragon could only blink in amazement. "Who do you think you are, spouting off against the commander? Did that princess not teach you what happens when you defame your superiors?" "El." Bellant appeared at my side with a warning hand on my arm. Liony stumbled in not 2 steps after. "Let's walk away. There's no reason to start trouble." "Who's starting trouble?" I asked, without looking away from my prey. I leaned in close. "Do you know what the lions did before being sent out to rescue the rest of you clowns on the battlefield?" If the dragon swallowed, the tip of the knife would no doubt break skin. Spittle leaked from the edges of his lips as the gaggle of soldiers solidified in place. Too green. Didn't even know how to fight when a knife came into play. Useless. We were the military's internal investigators. I tilted my head, smiling wide. "Do you know what that means?" "El, enough." Bellant pulled on my arm, joined by Liony. I let them, releasing my grip on the knife. With a flip, it skirted easily between my fingers. 6 eyes followed each twirl of the metal. "Just saying," I muttered, turning back to see my lizard lingering behind the doorway of his workshop, but his gut was so large that he wasn't actually hiding from anyone. I pulled my coin purse from a string tied to the inside of my pants, but he stopped me. "Take it," he smiled, quivery, eyes glancing all around. "It was my mistake. Please let me know if there are any adjustments you would like." That was easy. I took the sword from him, sliding it in place on my back. Already, I could feel that the core of its weight was heavier than before. Still didn't use carpite, though. Whatever. Tangenite could protect against sword glares decently enough. Why couldn't you have just done it right in the first place? You're treating me like I'm going to kill you when you're the one who could have been responsible for my death, and I shouldn't be mad? The lizard shook his head rapidly, so hard his eyes spun when he stopped. "Of course not, El, of course not. It's my job to make equipment for the military. I wouldn't send you off with a faulty blade on purpose, but the blame lies with me. It lies with me." I shook my head, turning to walk away. "But you did send me off with a dud, yet I'm the bad guy." Liony and Bellant stood as a barrier between me and the phalanx of frozen soldiers. What was their deal anyway, I asked them, before we'd even gotten out of earshot. The dragon began fuming again, spitting his words like the snake he was. I felt sorry for those in the spray zone. "You didn't have permission. You lions just want to play the hero without understanding any of the repercussions. The king wanted to interrogate the enemy. Don't think you've done anything but blunder your way to the top. Again. The war is won, so we have no choice but to praise you. But do you really feel praised? Do you really think the king is happy with you?" We left the tunnels behind. Bellant and Liony had suspiciously ugly expressions on their faces, but they were still hungover, so I didn't think much of it. "I can't wait until we go back to sussing out traitors," I scoffed, playing with my sword as we walked up the hill to the main road. "He'll be the first. Trash-talking a commander? He's asking for it. Really is." "You can't kill people for trash-talking, El," Liony said, but his voice sounded weird, almost like he was choking. I danced up the slope, the sword swishing letters through the air. "I love Rory. I won't kill him, but his tongue's gotta go. If he doesn't have enough brain to shut the hell up and be respectful, then it's our job to straighten him out before he offends someone important right to their face." "Oh, El," Bellant sighed. Stuck with 2 extra bodies trailing behind me like depressed and overburdened donkeys, I found my feet slowing. Walking among the vendors, trinkets, kitchen tools, and greasy food caught my eyes. It had been so long since I'd seen so many options. My coin purse felt a little too heavy, didn't it? People would think the bulge in my pants was something other than what it was. I couldn't go giving them the wrong idea, could I? "So you drugged him with that cloddy memory drink?" I asked Bellant, pointing to a stall of roasted nuts with the delightful aroma of sugar wafting out a curling trail of smoke. They shook their head, so I just bought one for me and one for Rory. Liony, hands held open, cursed when he saw that I never planned on buying him anything, digging into his pockets for spare change to save face in front of the nut vendor. The cloudy memory draught wasn't enough to actually take his memories away, Bellant sighed, for the umpteenth time. That kind of effect takes years of constant abuse. Drinking it one time isn't the end of the world. "Humph." Liony disagreed with a snort and a crunch. Half of the almonds he'd just bought already gone. "But seriously, El," Bellant said, their giant frown growing harsher and more cutting, "you need to be careful." My eyes landed on a case of jewelry, glittery pendants shining with weak light. "El, do you hear me? You shouldn't be going around anywhere by yourself." My eyes watched the crystals. I tried to decide which one would look best, pressed up against Rory's skin, but it was an impossible task. They would all make me lose my mind. The red, the green, the blue, the white. I eyed the white one, cast inside a feather-type metal brace. It almost made it look like the squinting eye of a prideful predator. You think I can't handle a bunch of green twerps? I scoffed. Nobody but the lions even knows about my glare blindness. That's why I carry a weapon that counteracts that. That's not the problem. Please take one of us with you when you leave the pen, Bellant repeated. I could feel their eyes on me as I made my final purchase. Now, my coin purse was very light, but it didn't matter. What did I need money for other than to spend it on Rory? I'd just go hunting in the swamp and bring out pelts and fangs and poisonous mushrooms to sell if I got desperate for funds. I get it, I said, turning in the direction we'd just come. I was one alley away from sneaking out by climbing the turret wall. Can't trust a street rat not to be an embarrassment to the regiment. Message received. I took off, leaving my unlikely babysitters behind. Another of Bellant's sighs followed me, and the wisp of words carried through the crowded market lane. That isn't what I meant.